This week, we wrap up the year by discussing our top 5 favorite games, as well as what we're most excited for in the future. What are they gonna be? There's only one way to find out, and that's listening to this fantastic episode of Rolling Doubles Podcast, as well as this sentence, which is just filler so we get to the end of this intro. Welcome to Rolling Doubles, a podcast about two board game enthusiasts who have never met and rolled the dice on friendship. I'm Jacob. 300 milligrams of caffeine may be too much to consume at 8 o'clock at night. Russell.
And Merry Holidays, Ryan Schneider.
It is going to be Merry Holidays.
It came so quickly. I think like Thanksgiving was here, and then all of a sudden Christmas is tomorrow. It's
it's nuts.
This time of year always comes up on me faster and faster every year as an adult. This used to be a time, like when I was a kid, have school off, play Final Fantasy VII until 2 in the morning, eat a bunch of Christmas cookies. My dad would used to, buy us pizza. It would be Now I have to make sure I feed my dog on time. That's just that is the adult way now.
And it's hard. Every year I'm like, okay, I'm going to do something super nice for other people. I'm going to go do stuff for my neighbors and really get into the Christmas spirit and attitude. And you know what I've done this year?
What?
Nothing.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing.
You're a terrible human being.
I'm a terrible human being. But one year I'm going to be nice and I'm going to help other people out.
It is the thought
that
counts.
This year is not that year. It is the thought that counts, which is a complete bull crap. The thought does nothing. Action is what counts, not thought. There's my words of wisdom for this year.
Ta-da!
Actually, this is an exciting episode for us. This is our final episode for the year.
Yep.
I think we've been doing this for 7 months? 8 months?
Yeah, this has been 2 episodes every month since about May, I think, was our first ever release episode, and we did some pilot ones before that. So technically, there's probably 17 in the books, 2 of which are unreleased. But yeah.
And will never be released.
No, never be released.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No.
And our plan for this one is we are going to go over our games of the year. Now, I know this changes up the format a bit, but I'm actually very excited about this because we don't know what each other's top 5 is.
No, we do not. I have a good sense of what your top is going to be, but maybe I could be wrong. I have no idea. I have a good sense, though, what it would be.
I'm very interested. And I wonder if we overlap at all as well. I don't know how this is going to go.
We might do 1 or 2, but I think we'll have very different lists.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we'll have different lists.
Overall, though, this has been a fantastic year for me for gaming. I think overall it's a year of growth and a year of change of the hobby for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember maybe this time last year, it was always just like, what new game do I want to play? Like, give me all the games at once to play. But this year, it was a shift, and I shifted to more of a quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest thing, that the theme for me over this year. And we've talked about it even on the podcast, where I want the quality. I want the new experience that I haven't had before, and I want the top of the tier games. I don't have time for the bottom of the bucket. I want the good stuff, man. And I think we got that this year.
It's interesting because I think I've still am cult to the new when it comes to board games. I'm very much keeping up on trends, seeing what's hot on BGG, and really buying into that new stuff. And I definitely have slowed down, I think, on my Kickstarter pledges. What I've done is I've donated $1 to a majority of all my pledges, and I've waited until the very end to see whether it was something that I really, really needed to have, and if so, I bought in. If not, I left it at $1. I really found that keeping up to date with the updates, the whole process of making the games where they are all going, was exciting for me. I love getting those updates, and I really just updated what I was really interested in, and I found that to be an equal compromise versus just throwing 60, 80, $100 at a game and hoping that it wouldn't be something that would hit the sell pile within 2 to 4 months.
That's true. That's true. I think I should refine my statement then. I've definitely become more critical this year, I should say. I'm still doing the same thing where I'm still keeping up with stuff. I'm still keeping up with what's going on and what interests me. I'm just far more critical on what games I actually purchase and add to my collection. And I'm even tempted to kind of get rid of probably a quarter of my collection just because they're not getting played, and I'd rather have the space, I
Sure.
think. But yeah, it's honestly, it's exciting. And I don't consider myself a board game critic. That's why we don't do really heavy reviews
No.
on this podcast. But I do know I can be critical for what's good for me and my play group, but I don't feel like I have the authority or the knowledge to be critical for games that are, or like for everyone outside of myself.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah, I think being able to share our experiences and our sessions with each other and those that listen is awesome versus, like you said, doing reviews. What's interesting is I've heard feedback from some of my friends who listen to the podcast who have said that we've brought up a lot of interesting and unique games that no one's really heard about, that they've gone back and have looked at Board Game Geek and really gave a more, whether it be critical or a deeper look into something, because it sounds interesting that we played it. And that to me is what I think, I think you and I both agree, is what we hope to sought out to do, is giving exposure to both the hot games like Root this year and to other unique games as well that may not have gotten onto people's radars, whether it be a 2018 release or older. Like Ethnos, for instance, was hot back in the day, and now I recently played it this summer, and people were looking at it and being like, "Oh, this is interesting." So, that's all. I'm, like I said, coming into this year, I really wanted to start contributing, and I can't imagine that that it came as fast as it did, and it's grown to the lengths that it's did in this time. So, it's been great.
Yeah, it has been great. And I think a big thing for this year is also us two becoming podcasters.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing for us. I started out the year making videos, not really knowing what that was going to hold for me, but it led us to come together and create this. So it fulfilled its purpose, and I stopped making videos months and months ago because this is far more fulfilling. And it's just fun to talk about board games.
Yeah.
It really is. I think that's one thing that everyone in this hobby who are really into the hobby really love doing, is just chatting about board games.
Right. Absolutely. And you had 100% less beard at the time too.
I do, and I have a significally grosser beard now.
Yeah, you don't have to do any sort of like facial upkeep because you don't have to prove nothing to nobody. Except for me when I look at you on Google
Upkeep.
Hangouts.
I trimmed the sides.
Oh,
That's
sure.
about
No,
it,
well, it's definitely, like I said, it's kind of strange thinking about the progress because you came in like baby clean, fresh faced, and now it's like you're a mountain man.
haggard,
Yeah.
old, decrepit.
It is actually. So you do have a good beard. I have like a patchy beard.
Mhm.
It doesn't grow in fully. I have. Yeah, I've tried. Yeah, there's a picture of me on the wall. I'll show it to you after the podcast.
I want to see that. I want to see
Yeah.
that. I was trying to do more Instagram stories with my face in it for some reason. I actually don't remember if I did one with my face, but I'm going to do more Instagram stories for what I'm playing and to show my actual face, because there are faces behind these voices.
There are.
We're not just floating heads.
No, we're not.
All right.
Let's get into it. Let's get this. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we do top 5. Top 10, I think, would have been a little bit harder. We have like some runner-ups, but then we have our top 5, and I think how we're gonna do it is do runner-ups first, and we're gonna very briefly go over these. We aren't gonna go into full depth into detail. We just really want to talk about what stood out for us, and we want to make sure as well too that this does not just contain 2018 releases. These are games that could have come out whenever, and they could be new to us, right? And so that's what we want to be able to make this list, is whether it's a 2018 release or older, whatever is new, first time played for us, what has always come back onto the table is what's important that makes this list. And again, while it is like 5 through 1, I would say that any one of these could be in any position at any time. So please take it with a grain of salt. We just hope that from one of these, you guys are able to look into it more and see if it fits your play group and give it a shot if you guys like it. That's, I think, what ends up coming from this.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. It was hard to do a top 5 though. I thought it was going to be pretty easy, but there are some that just could have snuck in there just as easily. So I'm excited to hear what yours are, because I do think they will be a bit different. Do you want to start us off with your number 5?
Sure. Actually, let's do runners up first, right?
Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah.
Let's do runners up.
All right.
Okay, so I have a tasty runner up that I think is going to be a really hot take. And for me, one of the runner ups for Game of the Year 2018 is Discover Lands Unknown. So, Discover Lands Unknown from Fantasy Flight Games. This is the unique board game experience in which you play as survivors trying to survive a scenario, and it's all unique components. This game was not reviewed well this year. It was, I think, largely hyped, and I think a lot of reviewers had a lot of problems with it. Now, there are some situations in which I agree. However, for me, and why it's the runner-up, is because this is a really, really nice gateway adventure survival game. I think it does what it's supposed to do. And first and foremost, when it comes to my ultimate gaming partner, which is my wife, I have never once had a game in 2018 where she has wanted to bring this out to the table on consecutive nights. This is the first game to do that. A lot of it, too, stems from the fact that the scenario that we tried to play, we could never beat. So there was kind of like this driving principle of really wanting to complete the scenario. But with that being said, we were able to really get back into it, start playing, setting it up, not having to really go and fact check to rule check a lot of things. That type of easiness is something that I really appreciate out of this game. And again, I get where reviewers are coming from with some of the parts of it, but to me, having that is what makes this a runner-up. This year.
Yeah, I want to try this still. This is definitely on my to try list. I think its comparison to Fallout for me just kind of keeps it on my to try and not instantly to buy. But I do think our group would have a lot of fun with it. I think despite even hearing what people's concerns are about it, I think I'd still have a fun time with it, and it would be worth it. I wonder, with that harsh criticism, if the prices will go down a bit, because I also didn't want to try it for like $60. I'd try it for like $40, and so I think that's kind of a hold off for me right now. But I love supporting different ideas. I love supporting when people try different things. If it flops, it flops, but it's just fun kind of being in that process of trying new things, and I think that excites me. So that's definitely one that I want to try.
Yeah. So one of my runner-ups, Discover Lands Unknown from Fantasy Flight Games.
For me, runner-up number 1 or 2, I don't know, I have 2 runner-ups, but I'm going to talk about one right now. For me is Lords of Hellas. This was a runner-up.
I still haven't gotten my copy. I'm so mad.
I know, and it will still be months from now too, because it's still being published or produced.
Yep.
I think this game will be higher up and play it more once I have the rest of the content that I ordered. It's a fantastic game in the base set. There's so much there. It probably saw my table half a dozen times. No, that's way too much.
Wow, that's a lot.
A handful of times. It was not that many times. I want to say like 3 or 4, but enough where I could see the value of that game. I could see how deep that game could get. And I think that was kind of the final area control game I got this year, which is huge, because that used to be my number 1 choice of game was area control. And I think that's the most recent, I guess minus Root, but that's such a different game.
I would say there's area control elements of Root, but I would say Lords of Hellas is a much more area control type game. So
I agree. And it's fun. I'm excited to see what the other content brings. That I do trust Awaken Realms with their games because of this. I'm really excited to see what Nemesis is like. I didn't back it, but I'm just excited to see what that game is like and what the responses of that game. I think people are starting to receive copies now, or I've seen some talk about it. I don't know what the status is of that.
So people have started to receive their core game, and this was actually probably smart for me because I really, really wanted to get this game, and a friend of mine really, really wanted to get this game. And so we agreed that he was going to get the game and I was going to play it with him. And so I talked to him about it actually just yesterday. And what ended up happening is that in the USA, they were getting their shipments, because he did 2 waves. So he's going to get the core and then the expansion stuff later. There was a delay, unfortunately. And so it's probably going to be delivered past the new year, which sucks. bucks.
Yeah, that's rough.
But
And that's
yeah.
hard. Yeah, that's hard on Kickstarters.
Yep.
I'm excited for that one, though.
I'm excited for that
Anyway,
one too.
first runner-up, Lords of Hellas. What's yours?
My second runner-up hasn't been released yet, but has had I think probably the most playtime I've had all this year, and that's Vast the Mysterious Manor. So, Vast the Mysterious Manor is the follow-up to Vast the Crystal Caverns by Leader Games. As I've made mention on this podcast many times before, I do volunteer work and playtesting for this game. I started back in January when literally this was some of the components were literally pieces of paper that Patrick had like created about an hour before I showed up for my first playtest, until basically to this whole week where it is now the final crunch, where they are putting this to the printer, the miniatures are in play, everything, art's coming complete. It was like, it's crazy to think about because it feels so long ago in January when I first started this to now having it evolve to what it is today. It has gone through some awesome strides, and there's been a lot of work going into it, and I'm really excited for people, Vast fans and new fans alike, to see where this has come post-Root, post-TCC, to take lessons learned and give it the Vast flair that everyone knows, but makes it more accessible than it ever has been before. I'm really excited for it. I'm proud to have worked on it. And it's a runner-up. That's why it's never a top 5 game, because, again, theoretically it hasn't been released, but I've probably played this game 25, 30 times, I would say, just to be able to get this out the door. And it's been great playing it.
And what's cool about this is I'm excited to see what the impact of Root had on this game, because Root was such a huge success, and they saw what worked versus maybe what may not have worked as well in Vast the Crystal Caverns. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just excited to see how the Mysterious Manor turns out and benefits from the success of Root. I'm a backer. I'm excited. I loved Vast, the first Vast. It's a game I want to play more, and this just kind of gets me excited for that. So I'm definitely excited for that one as well.
Yeah. So Vast the Mysterious Manor by Leader Games coming out 2019. We're looking at, I want to say spring to summer release. Yeah. Because if they go to printers, going to probably take maybe a couple months. I want to say probably spring to early summer. I can't say. I will let them officially do that. All I know is that it's going to the printer soon. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. The print and play is available though, right? The most up-to-date print and play is available through Kickstarter?
Nope. It is not. I don't believe the most up-to-date print and play is available because there are dials in the game now. And yeah, there are dials in the game. So we are out of player boards. If they were player boards, it would be much easier. But there are a lot of component changes from what people know about Crystal Caverns and Root that modular. Oh, that's not a word at all.
Modularly.
Modularize. Basically,
modularize.
It's a combination of smaller player boards that are a bit more condensed, that make more sense, cuts off a lot of the fat, and dials that allow for ease of tracking different things such as grit, such as terror, things that were normally controlled by a cube that if you flicked off the board accidentally, you're like, oh, where'd that go? That's all been now controlled by a dial. So
sweet. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff that I think a lot of people will like. That gives it that Vast 2.0 feel, but still maintains the core and the spirit of what it originally was. So
beautiful.
Yep.
Cool. All right, my next one, my final runner-up is GKR Heavy Hitters from Weta Workshop.
Good one.
This was such a great game. I just love the passion that you can see in this game, in the production quality, in the gameplay. I think it succeeds at both very well. I wish the two expansion mechs were not more than the actual base game itself, because I would definitely be interested in that. But this game, there's so much variability in the decks that you can create. I think one of my favorite aspects is how easy it is to put together your deck at the beginning of the game and seeing how it just kind of unfolds. I love the table presence, the gameplay. Like I was saying, people have always enjoyed this game as they've been playing it at my house. It's one that I would love to see played more, a bit more, just to kind of see if I can get like a better strategy, because I'm terrible at the game. I've never even won. I would just go guns a-blazing in the middle and then I just die instantly.
Yep.
But it's fun like that. But GKR, both of us have had history with that. That's a game that it was just so close to my top 5, but didn't really. Actually, I think that's telling of this year though, because that's a fantastic game. A lot of people now. There's also a lot of criticism on that game as well, but this game is fantastic. And other years previous, I think this would be a higher rated game for me personally.
Sure.
But there's just so many good games right now.
Yeah.
GKR, heavy hitters.
Yeah, I think you're speaking with the crowd in terms of how the expansion is more than the base game for Kickstarters. It's unfortunate. I think I get it though, but yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. I follow many of your same sentiments with GKR. It's a wonderfully built game. I think it's really clever in terms of doing your weapon loadout kit, having it be a deck, having it be your life. I wasn't a huge fan of the fighting too much, but again, to being able to just go in with, being able to make all robot noises and the guns and how that actually got portrayed, like there's a lot of innate fun in that I really enjoyed. Yeah, so my friend has a copy now, and so I'll just usually play whenever if to play. If anyone would be like, "Hey, let's play GK," I'd be like, "Totally, let's go." It ended up not needed. I didn't need a copy for myself because it's like I have 2 other people that owned it. So,
do you think playing 8 players kind of killed the fighting for you because it took like 40 minutes?
Yeah, I do wish there was some sort of house rule that we could have made, because that took so long.
I think that'd kill it for me too.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a it was too bad. It was too bad that was the case. But alas, like again, too, taking that all out of the equation, I think you can really get people that like, I don't know, kaijus, who likes Gundam, who are just really likes badass miniatures, to be able to like just get this game and be like, holy crap, like these are what board games are. And you're like, yeah, man, like this is what it can be. It's not cheap, but I mean, look at this. You could just use them as like little paperweights or just things on desks. It's just sweet.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah,
I love that game. GK are heavy hitters. Now we are into our top 5. It's an exciting year. Some fantastic titles have come out, and some fantastic titles have been played for us. By us. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is a Kickstarter that got delivered this year, did very well, has amazing visuals, which is like 95% of all Kickstarters, but it was made by Roxley, published by Roxley, and there was 2 games, one of which was a remake, and another which was a re-envisioning, like a sequel. Can you guess what I'm talking about?
Brass
Lancashire. My number 5 for 2018. Brass Lancashire by Roxley. This train game is a delight. The visuals right away are super dark, but they are stunning. Like, you can't complain. I think it just immediately grasps at the tone of what the time period was like in this game. Having it be like so realistic, but just having this like fantasy almost twinge to it, and just how grandiose it was. And it's what put Mr. Cuddington on the map for me, I think, being able to see that. And component wise, those clay chips are just stunning too. They feel so good. They're excellent. They can be used for anything.
Are those only in the Kickstarter version?
No, you can buy them separately.
Okay, because I kick myself for not backing this, and I want to buy it. What's the difference between the base set, the non-Kickstarter version of the base set, to the Kickstarter version?
I think. Oh man, you put me in a tough spot.
On the spot.
Yeah, on that spot. I think So the Kickstarter version definitely came with the clay chips.
Mhm.
And I think that might be it because I'm trying to think what the differences would be, and I can't think of anything. Because I don't think you really got any extra component upgrades. I'm sure there are that I can't think of. I have to boot up the Kickstarter quick, but I definitely can say that if you had backed the Kickstarter version, it came with the clay chips, the clay poker chips.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably honestly I'll buy it anyway. I don't think I would make a difference I don't think it would make a difference for me what the main differences are between the normal version and the Kickstarter version is. It sounds so good, and that's definitely what I want to pick up soon.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was that, and obviously the other game in the series is Lancashire and not Manchester. Oh no.
Worcester sauce.
Worcester sauce. Yes. Oh gosh, dang it. Anyways,
Birmingham.
thank you, Birmingham.
Boom.
That had the barrels of beer that you could sell that kind of replaces the market. That one didn't resonate as much. I know people that adore Birmingham, and I'm a Lancaster guy. I think Lancaster just resonated with me more. I like it.
So the remake, not the remake, but like
it's like a re-envisioning,
the modernized version.
Yeah, well,
okay,
so there's
that's Birmingham.
So Lancashire, not Lancashire. Lancashire is essentially is like an HD upgrade from brass second printing or brass originally from however long ago. And then Birmingham was kind of like, let's take Lancashire and make it our own. Cool. Which is where, because like originally, I think the biggest change, and there's a lot of changes between Birmingham and Lancashire, but Birmingham adds Birmingham adds barrels of beer that you can sell to the market versus the market in Lancashire where it was like this track that you tick down, and every single time you sold to the market there was like this randomness to like how much it affected the market, whether it was minimal or like a lot, and eventually you couldn't sell to the market at all. So this one kind of keeps it open, and so Birmingham keeps it open. I think it makes it like so someone could theoretically like own the market versus the market being its own isolated thing in Lancashire. So it might be more of a kind of like a superior version gameplay wise, but I mean I just couldn't get into it as much. So
yeah, that's cool. I'm excited about that one.
Brass Lancashire by Roxley Games.
Number 5 for me is Container. Container, the Jumbo Edition, whatever. Container. Okay, so I was talking about this game at work, and people were just making fun of me because I was like, it's a game about ships, but it's not about the ships. It's about the containers on the ships and buying and selling them. And it just makes it sound super dry. But this game is absolutely fantastic. With the multiple groups I brought it out with, multiple just being 2, but there's been multiple plays in those groups. They've all liked it. It's very accessible and clever and fun, just to see the economy that your group makes and how different each economy is each game. Where, oh man, I love this game. I love the mental challenge it gives me. I'm terrible at it. I've never even come close to winning. I always either outbid or put too much money in one area, but it's a fun puzzle to figure out. And it's always a different puzzle because of the people you play with and just how they do things. It's just such a good, clever game. Now, in theory, I guess they're saying it's completely out of print. I hope someone just prints it on at a normal size so it could be
cheaper,
spread out more, cheaper, more accessible. Yeah, just because this game deserves to be as many places as possible. It is such a good game. Now that designer's next other game is being jumbofied as well. And keep in mind, I love the jumbo version. I support it wholeheartedly. I love good table presence. But they're doing that with his other game as well, which is about city building. And I don't think I can back it. I think this is because they're not great at graphic design.
Oh, right.
You spend all this money and it's like fantastic miniatures, sort of. They're just kind of really good quality, but just the art direction is non-existent.
Right.
And that makes $150 hard to swallow for the other game that they have on there. Big City, I think is what it's called. But anyway, I love Container. Now, have you played a copy of Container at all?
Nope, I've not. I've seen it. I've heard lots of good things. I'm not really concerned that the graphic design is off-putting. I still think that I will enjoy the game either way.
Yeah, it's worth it. The gameplay completely overshadows the lack of good art direction.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Such a
Yeah,
good
I hope
game.
to play it one day. I have seen it. It's been out of stock at my friendly local game store for a while. I don't know if I'm very interested in wanting to play, just don't know if I'll ever end up shelling out $100 or however much it is now that it's out of print again for
Yeah, I
it.
have no idea.
But if it is out of print, obviously it will come back at one point in time. So who knows who picks it up? I imagine some big company will probably end up buying the rights and getting it.
If
I think
someone
it'll-
under
I
the
think it'll-
Asmodee umbrella kind of picks it up and makes a mass market version of it, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would be so good. They don't need to be overproduced. I've seen people make this game out of Legos,
Oh sure,
which if you really want to play, that it totally works. If you can make ships and things like that,
I believe
it's
it.
totally possible.
I believe
So
it.
if people like really want to play it, it's possible.
Gotcha.
It's possible. Anyway, that's Container by Mercury Games.
Number 4.
Number 4. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is a Plaid Hat game.
Hint me.
It's a Plaid Hat game from a designer we had earlier on this year.
Starship Samurai.
Close. Neon Gods.
Neon Gods.
Neon
Durr.
Gods. Neon Gods, I would say area control, combat, city building, deck building, all the mechanics game from Isaac Vega this year from Plaid Hat. This is the spiritual successor to his first game ever, City of Remnants, that came out all the way back, maybe like close to 10 years ago, in which you were gangs that were in control of the city that had been ruined, and your objective was to kind of start building and controlling these different towers and buildings and getting points. And while we loved that every single mechanic had its own place and never really overstayed their welcome, the time in which to complete the game was insane. You had these renown points that took forever to end up depleting, which was really difficult for us to kind of get through a game of City of Remnants. Neon Gods ends up doing all the right things to make City of Remnants, I think, the game that they had hopefully had envisioned, or at least with, this remake that they wanted to make sure, like, okay, we made this game, here's what worked, here's what didn't work. They chopped the fat. They basically gave it like the best, I would say, best cover art, best illustration box art I've ever seen in a game.
So good.
Like the artist, the illustrations and everything to this game is top notch. I absolutely love it. They streamlined it. It's now 9 turns. Everything is so super simple to grasp, and it still maintains like all this like hodgepodge of different mechanics, like with a little bit of deck building, a little bit of area control, a little bit of city building, all these different types of scenarios that you can play that start the game state at a certain way. I really think it's going to be an underrated game for me personally, for those people that are out there. And I really hope that the dynamic cover art can really draw people in and realize that once you get it onto the table, this is a really fascinating, a very thematic and great game that Isaac has put out with the team. And I loved it. I've played a 2-player game and I've played 2 4-player games, and each time we had an awesome time playing it. All of which the 2-player game was kind of a landslide, but the 4-player games ended up being pretty close. And I think that's how you need to play a game at 3 or 4 players for this game. But again, knowing Isaac, he's a great friend of mine. Please take it as a grain of salt. Again, if you feel like I am just trying to, say his game is great because, I'm his friend, that's not the case. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be putting it in my top 5. There's truly something there that I like about it for these reasons. If you don't, hopefully you'll go out and try it. If you agree with me, awesome. If you don't worry about it, man. It's just everyone's opinions. But I really like this
put it on
one.
my wish list. I want to play this game. I totally forgot about it, adding it to my wish list because I love City of Remnants, which came out in 2013, by the way.
I was way off.
You were way off. That's fine. It's fine. And I still have it, right? I'm looking back. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, I still have it. I love that game, but I would love a streamlined version of it. So that went right on my wish list. To the top. I forgot about that game. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, truly check out Neon Gods. Just even for its art, I would say it's just a treat. Even if you just get to see it on a shelf and see what they've done. There's so much going on. Like there's so many little things that you can pick out. Like there's people like putting their fingers in people's eyes and just like fighting and like different little cameos that they end up kind of illustrating throughout the game. It's a treat. It's a visual treat. I love it a lot. Neon Gods by Plaid Hat Games.
Sweet. My number 4 was a big game that was released this year. I actually don't remember when I got my copy. It was also a Kickstarter.
Song of Ice and Fire.
No.
Container Jumbo Edition.
I'd play that game. I'll try Song of Ice and Fire. No, it is by that company, though, and it is Rising Sun.
Why? You didn't give me a chance to guess.
Oh my gosh. Hey, what game do you think it is?
Not Rising Sun.
It is Rising Sun.
Wow, I'm great at this game. Please tell
sorry.
me more about this mysterious game I've never heard about.
I was just so excited to talk about it.
Please do that. Let's hear it.
Big fan of Blood Rage when it first came out, as many people are. And by the way, side note, the digital version of Blood Rage, that Kickstarter, got straight up nuts. I was shocked with what they were.
I haven't paid attention. I haven't paid attention. What?
Okay, so I'll get back to Rising Sun. Everyone knows about Rising Sun. It's a great game. But this Blood Rage Kickstarter, there's sculpts. There's alternate sculpts for the 4 original Kickstarter exclusives, which are great.
Okay.
3 new monsters.
Okay.
A whole new clan.
So
it's like an alternative clan.
Alternative clan. Okay. Yep.
Okay. And then gold giant versions of the Gods of Asgard expansion.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, which is nuts.
Yep.
And then and all that is for the $60 pledge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then they have the optional buy of the game mat, like an oversized Blood Rage game mat.
Yeah, the neoprene mat. Yep.
Yeah, with the other boards attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
So after seeing the great one they did for Rising Sun, which is the game I should be talking about right now, but I'm not. I'm definitely getting that because I love Blood Rage, and I think this will bring Blood Rage back to the table more as well because I have neglected that game because of Rising Sun.
Sure.
But they're both just great games.
Hold up. So wait. So the neoprene mat, does that come with the $60?
No, it's like a $30 add-on.
Okay, that's what I thought. But $60 gets you essentially all of the old Kickstarter exclusives and whatever.
And there's it's possible to buy alternate sculpts for the original factions, I believe, something like that. I don't remember, but I love Seaman. I know people they love to complain about Seaman Kickstarters. I love them. I think they're so fun.
I heard
they're so good.
Seaman Games.
Is that what I said?
I'm the Seaman.
I love me some Seaman games. That's my East Coast coming out.
Was there another game from Seaman you wanted to talk about very quickly here?
Maybe. I don't know. That's my number 4, Rising Sun. Just kidding. So,
number 4. Oh, bleep that out. No, Blood Rage Kickstarter, number 4.
Blood Rage Kickstarter. Yes, number 4, Blood Rage digital Kickstarter. I don't even care about the Steam version of the game. I'm never gonna play that on a computer. I have no need to.
Give me that code.
I will give you the Steam code.
Right,
it is yours.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, talking about Rising Sun, I love Rising Sun. This is
really,
such a great game. Not as much as the Blood Rage Kickstarter.
Obviously not. Holy moly.
Okay, so Rising Sun, so the original announcement, I remember how exciting it was because everyone was still hopped up on the Blood Rage, the original Kickstarter. But hearing it being the spiritual successor and then not getting the game for 2 years after that, but it totally lived up to its hype. This is such a beautifully produced game in both the miniatures, all the stuff, the components, but also the gameplay. This game is just a hit. If I ever have 5 or 6 people coming over, that's always a great option that I consider playing because it's pretty easy to get into. It's easy to explain. It's easy to kind of figure out a good strategy early on. And it's also just a great way to have a great experience, to have this great emotional response to a game with not a lot of effort. And I just love Rising Sun so much. You've played this
I played
recently? I don't remember if we talked. It was just once. That's
yeah,
what
we
it
just
was.
played it once. Yeah, so I bought all in. I didn't really want to miss this due to the Blood Rage Kickstarter that I
Yeah.
missed out on. So much game here, it's ridiculous. I enjoyed it. I want to be able to get this out with more people because I think
Yeah.
4 players was good, but what ended up happening is that we always allied with the same people. I really wanted to there be a mishmash, and I think that's just going to be with the people you play with in terms
Yes.
of, them being able to recognize, like, okay, if I ally with this person, I can cover this side of the board. Because to me, it was kind of boring. That was like in the game, we just kind of were teams through the entire 3 phases throughout the game. But that
It's
didn't.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, what made it was great because again, you got what I think people were looking for in terms of like that core Blood Rage experience, the soul of it that really came to still be its own thing in Rising Sun. And it also doesn't hurt that the game was, as you made mention, wonderfully produced. All the different types of nice plastic sculpts, pieces, the different cards that you play out for the actions that you take, whether it was like Harvest or Betray or the different actions that played out each turn was those types of components were just wonderfully made and I think realized.
I think the action tiles that came with the Kickstarter wins for component of the year for me. I don't know why. I just love those so much. Now, did you back the expansion as well?
Did not. Nope, I just got the base set and
Yeah,
then
same here.
the coins and the mat, which the mat I was very pleasantly surprised
Oh
in
man,
buying.
it's so good.
It was so, I think that was a great deal. It was because it was like $25 or $30 and it was like this double stitched neoprene mat and I should just toss the board. There's no point in playing Blood
There's no
Rage on a
point.
board. Like you just lay out this rug and then on your table and you just start playing.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I think I regret not backing the expansion, but at the same time, I have plenty of Rising Sun. Like, there's already so much in the base set. There's enough for 6 players, right? I think it would have been nice to get it, but how much shelf space do I want that game to take? You know?
Well,
Yeah.
I would just love to. This honestly, I think I would have the time of my life if one day next year we end up getting together. Like, I would love to play Rising Sun with you and your group.
Yes.
I think that would be fantastic. I think that would be a great game to play with you because I think you and I both would get into it.
Yes,
I
totally.
think it would. I think we'd be at odds at all times. I personally see that happening, and that's why I'm going to keep my copy because I'm just going to play it
do it.
one day.
Oh, one day. What's interesting about that game is they push the negotiation. That's the word.
Yeah.
The that aspect of it, and like you said, you just kind of end up with the same people the whole game. It's not a negotiation game. I've never been in a round where there's a lot of negotiation at all, but not going into it with that mindset makes it a lot better for us. Where it's more just attack each other and try and get points, and it's great. Anyway, that's the Blood Rage digital Kickstarter review that we have.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
That's Rising Sun by CMON. Excited to see what they have for the next year. Not really thrilled about the Munchkin adventure miniatures game they announced today, but whatever.
There's got to be people that. Oh, is that their new Kickstarter?
Yeah, that's out next year, or that is launching next year. I'm sure there are people who are super excited for this.
I'm so sure. I'm sure that there has to be a crowd. Munchkin, I think, is still going strong, but I know it's kind of like widely slammed by people. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'll keep my eye on it. Anything that CMON does, I'll keep my eye on.
That's true. Rising Sun. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is was played recently. Closed economy bidding game, very backstabby by Capstone / Simply Complex.
Okay, hold on.
We just talked about it like a month ago.
High Society?
Nope. That's Osprey. Simply
That's Osprey.
Complex, Capstone Games. Think about what Capstone has done. They had a Kickstarter. Did favorably.
The Estates?
The Estates.
Oh my gosh, what a good game.
Yes. I came into the Leader Game Studio for playtesting, and they were finishing up a game, and it was by far like the most intriguing thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. I ended up getting a few games with random peoples and with friends in, and I am was immediately smitten by this bidding game, this backstabby game, this game of building your estates and being the first to complete 2 different rows and just counting up your points, and having a game where you can get negative points and still not be the complete loser of the game.
Which is always funny.
Always funny. Yeah, so basically in the estates, what you're trying to do is you're building your estates by building different colored numbered cubes on these different plots of land. And essentially almost every component is up for bidding, whether it be the actual cubes, the roofs, different types of like tokens that allow you to move up a row, move down a row, cancel something, or even double your points, whether it's good or bad. I think it's so weird because I secretly love bidding games a lot. I don't think I'm really good at them, but I love it.
I'm terrible at them. I always overbid. Always.
Oh, I like it a lot because there's always so much. It's like it's always got that little bit of poker element, right? In terms of like being able to try to read like what can I really get out of this person in order to get the best deal possible. I've contemplated picking a copy up for myself just because I adore it so much, but I know so many people that have it that I cannot justify it just yet. But truly give the estates a shot. The more people you play with, the more fun it is. And while I'd say backstabby, it's like it's as if it was a bad thing. It truly isn't. It's good. I think take it as serious as you want, but for me, that just makes it that much more fun for me. Is just, I don't know.
It's so good. Okay, yeah. I remember after a conversation, I was really interested, so I tried to hunt down a copy and I couldn't find one.
Right.
But I finally found one on Amazon. And I've only played it once. If I had played it more, this probably would be in my top 5 of the year because I could see its potential for my group. I just played it once 2-player with my wife, and we both loved it, even at 2-player. My favorite component in the game is easily the mayor's hat.
Yeah, the top hat.
Because that could either, the top hat. It could either like make someone win by so much or make someone lose by so much because it doubles the score, either positive or negative, and that just is so good. I'm excited to play this with my game group, or even with just more than 2 people. I love this game so far.
Yeah, bring it out. I would say that you will have an even better time. It's even great that a bidding game at 2 people still works that way, right?
It totally does.
Right, and that's what's really cool about it. So, The Estates for me, it's like it's excellent. Please find a copy, check it out. It's a great game by Capstone / Simply Complex. I think it's kind of like Simply Complex. I think is like a sub company of Capstone.
Now,
so
I'm interested in their first game, The Climbers, as well.
Yep.
I don't know if you've played that one at all.
I almost picked it up. It's like $35, and it's this game where you're putting cubes and you're creating this mountain, and you can rotate cubes and put ladders, and you have little ponds, and you're essentially creating this colored cube mountain, and it looks awesome.
It looks great.
Yeah, it looks great. Again, it's just like I really have to keep strong in that I cannot go over my limit of board games. Like it has to be the 2 Calyx shelves and that's it. And if not, I have to get rid of something. So.
Right. And that's honestly, I love that. I think I'm going to start enforcing that as well. Like it has to stay in the closet and not outpouring, which is what it's doing, which you can't see. Yeah. All right. That's exciting. That's your number 3, The Estates. Okay. So for me, my top 3 were so hard to choose in order. So these are all basically number 1s, but I'm going to do it in 3, 2. No. I'll stick with this order. But just know that these are very close together. Mm-hmm. Okay. Number 3 for me, which you think might be higher. Okay. This game.
If this is what I think
heard
it
of
is. If I know what it is, it's going to surprise me. No. Gotta give me the hints.
What is it?
Give me the hints.
Okay, the hints. You've played it a lot.
Root.
Yep. that was amazing.
Of course, we are tied.
Yeah.
For all
these
really? No, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Number 3. Again, I know there's a very close margin of having it be from 2 to 1, but I expected this to be your number 1. Like
I also expected it to be my number 1.
Interesting. Okay, now I'm trying to think of what would be your number 1. Anyways, all right, continue. What is Root? I don't understand. What is Root?
What is Root? You've heard of Root. If you don't, go listen to any other random podcast and they're talking about it, or they were. Root was so good for our group. This is one of the first games where um, the game was set aside to play every other week with the same group to really dive into it
Right.
and see all the factions and see everything the game has to offer. And we've done that a bunch now, and we're having our final Root session this week where it's just going to be 2 rounds. We ended up playing like 2 games each night that we get together. And it's just, I love this game. I'm so excited for the expansions that will be on Kickstarter next year. I'm excited to see what's coming up for this game. I love it. It deserves all its hype. There was actually, I think Cole just put up some balancing things
Yep.
on Board Game Geek yesterday
Yep.
about it. That will be as now. I think he said that they'll in the next Kickstarter they'll actually have printed versions of the balanced rules,
Yep.
which is great.
Correct. Yes, they will. So they will offer a very low compensation / no charge. So like you could print out a sticker sheet and cut out the stickers and modify the book, or they'll be able to like send you a copy. I don't know. I'm not going to speak on behalf of them because I think that hasn't really totally been confirmed. But I know that it's important that everyone does receive essentially the patch notes for Root, which is hilarious thinking about it, right?
Right, it totally is, especially with how popular the game is. But I think that'll be timed perfectly where we've played it a ton this year, totally like dove into it, and when that Kickstarter gets delivered next year or the year after or whenever, I think it'll be time to bring it out again and just kind of enjoy that discovery once again with new factions and with updated current factions. I'm in love with this game, Root.
Do you have Riverfolk?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay, sweet.
Oh yeah. And the Lizard Cult might be one of my favorites. They're so, I don't know. Honestly, there isn't a faction that I don't like. Now, I still haven't played the Cats. Cats have been in most of our games, and I've never played them. I think that's the one faction I actually haven't played yet.
See, I have never played the Vagabond.
Oh, he's fun. He's super fun because you can kind of go and do whatever you want, and you can get pretty like I got close to winning. I was within 4 points. That's one thing that's great about this game. People are like, well, it's not balanced perfectly, but Cole said that actually wasn't even a goal of his because it's up to the group to balance the game.
Right. Yep.
And he wasn't considering it like a competitive type, like not professionally competitive, but like a competitive scene for it.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see how it gets balanced out because our games have always been close. Now there may be like one person who's not even close, but within 2 or 3 players, it's a tight game.
Oh yeah.
Man,
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah, that's how it usually ends up playing out. Is there's always 2 people vying for the win, a third person is not too far behind, and unfortunately there is usually a 4th player that ends up struggling in the majority of the games that we played. But it can sometimes also be like a turn or 2 for every single player on the table to get close to winning. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh, so good. And that's my number 3. Could easily have been my number 1.
Yeah.
But that's my number 3.
Cool.
Number 2 for you.
This one is interesting, and I'm confident that I feel that this game is number 2. This is a Renegade game. This is a Renegade Game Studio game. It's a 2-player game. It had
Renegade 2-player game.
Yep, 2-player game. It's a card.
Fox in the Forest.
Yes.
Yeah, that's such a good
Fox in the Forest by Renegade Game Studios is such a wonderful game. I love it so much. My wife and I have played this game a ton. It's such a simple game that involves you essentially beating the number that your opponent plays, but suit matters. There's some special abilities that you can activate on certain cards. You can whip through a game in like 30 minutes or so, and there's a lot of interesting, unique choices. The art, the illustration, the design is wonderful. It's like a deck of cards that you could go and pick up from a nice store, in terms of how they design the game. I love it. My wife loves it. I think it's probably one of her top games of the year too, if not the top one. I can't speak for her though, but I know that when we brought this out and played it a lot, it was always fun, no matter what, to play, and we enjoyed it a lot. And I'm certain you can still find it. I think it's common. I know that originally its first print run, it was like, I don't know, a little bit of a crapshoot, but this is definitely one that if you want something very quick, like you're on vacation, and you love board games, just throw it in your bag. Like, and I honestly think that in those downtimes, I think I'll have a great time just playing this at a coffee shop in the morning, playing it before you go to bed at night. Gives you that feel of board game choices, big board game choices, but with the elegance and essentially the table minimalist, or it just doesn't take up too much space. That I just enjoy a lot. And that's Fox and on the Forest in the Forest by Renegade Game Studios.
I think this is another game where our games have always been close too, but not me and you, but between my wife and I, where it's like one hand could win or lose the whole game for you. I love that game. Mm-hmm. Actually, this also makes me think of it. Now, it's not by Renegade or whatever, but The Mind. I totally forgot about The Mind. That's a game we've played a ton this year.
Yeah,
that could have also fit in here, and I just did not. I'm gonna say that's my 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, sure.
I will also say that The Mind was 3.5 as well, because I think call it the best card game I think I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah,
when I talked about it. Obviously that was really drinking the hype Kool-Aid when it came with that. Now that things have settled down, don't get me wrong, I still love The Mind a lot, but I think as far as what has definitely solidified itself, Fox in the Forest, I think, just beats it out a little bit.
Yeah.
For me, after everything is said and done. But that doesn't mean that The Mind also doesn't come very close in that regard. So
yeah, I bought like 4 copies for gifts for people for this year.
Yeah,
it's such a great game. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. All right, my number 2 is a game that was also another Kickstarter.
All right.
That's pretty polarizing, very complex.
Feudum.
Almost to a fault. Yep, Feudum. Okay.
Wow, so God, we're just good at this. We don't Feudum, man.
Feudum. Okay. Once again, if I had to choose between Root and Feudum, I think this just kind of ekes it out just a tiny bit, but that's such a hard decision. They could easily flip spots, I think. But Feudum is such an amazing experience. I would love to play this game over and over again with the same group, and I tried that for a bit, but they got burnt out real quick because it is such a heavy game.
Right.
And I totally understand that. But I love the complexity. I love the flow of it. I love how aspects of it all interact, where you have this map in the middle of the table that has area control, but that's affected by the guilds on the outside of the table and they're affecting each other, and it's just, oh man, I love this game. The action selection, where you're selecting your actions for that round, but what other people are doing could end up either having you play your actions in a different order or not going how you planned. It's just such a great game. Now, it is an investment to get into, to learn the rules, to understand, to play your first couple of games without really knowing what you're doing. But it is completely worth the investment. And now, just today, they announced their almost like a small expansion Kickstarter that will be happening next year. That includes boats, and it's more, it sounds like it's making it more of like a war game, which is very exciting, with beautiful miniatures in that as well. And this is a game that I am going to be supporting as long as they keep pumping stuff out for it. I will be consuming it because it's a game that I know it's completely worth the effort for me, and a game that I would love to play again anytime, and that is Feudum.
See, I think every single time you explain Feudum, I still don't understand what you do in that game.
I know. It's something like, do you have an hour and a half and I'll teach you the game type thing, right? Like,
holy moly, that's a lot.
There is so much. Now, I can probably teach it in like 45 minutes now, but I remember the first teaching just took so long, and I didn't even teach all the rules. But they did enjoy it, the people I was playing with, but it was too hard, or not too hard, but it was just kind of too much to play over and over again. So, but it's one I could play at any time.
So then, to be a devil's advocate on this whole thing, basically that the experience, once people get into Feudum, beats out Root, even though the detriment of it is that it is a brain burner slog.
It is. I think Root. Okay, there are similarities here between Root and Feudum for me, and it's a game where, and the similarities are that the more you invest into it, the more you'll get out of it. And that, I know that's such like a generic statement, but with these two games in specific, like with Root, the more you put into it with the same group of people, the more rich of an experience you'll have. I think you'll have with Feudum, I think there's just kind of a richer experience there as well. But it takes more of an effort. So I think it's a effort or reward versus effort balance for both of those. I think they're kind of equal. You put a bit more into Feudum, but I think you get a bit more out of it as well. Now I think Root will definitely see more gameplay, and it already has when compared to Feudum, but I love them both, and that's a hard decision to make, but I'm a man of hard decisions. Feudum, number 2.
I'm glad that you stuck to your guns on this one, because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of really wanted you to put Feudum below Root, and I think you stuck with your guns. So you know what? Good on you. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to them haters.
Them haters. I do what I want. I do what I want.
I'm a hater on Feudum. I've heard the stories about how Feudum is a beast to learn, and that it's intimidating even to just try to learn the game by yourself. Yeah. Even when you even videos that teach you how to play, it's still pretty daunting.
Oh yeah, it's still. Here's the thing though, it does flow well, and it does make sense once you play it once. It does flow well, and I think that has that going for it. But to learn that flow kind of sucks.
Yeah. Wow. Cool.
Anyway. Okay, we're down to it. Our number 1s.
Number 1.
What is yours? I want to guess it.
We've already talked about it.
Yeah. Is it Root?
Yeah.
It is Root.
I think our lists are pretty much well choreographed to us, but Root's my number 1 game of the year. And again, I have to say this again with a grain of salt, being a playtest. Now, when I joined the whole playtesting scene with them, Root was, I would say, darn near complete at that point. I had done a game of Root in January where it still had the keep painted onto the board or drawn onto the board. They fixed it where you could place it now modularly. That's the second time.
There it is.
Where it was a modular piece. There we go. It was a modular piece that could go in any one of the corners, which works a lot better. But I played it. It's a funny story. I played as the birds in that demo, and I went into Turmoil like 4 times in a row. It was fantastic. Which is funny thinking back on it now. Yeah, I even remember the guy running the demo was like, I've never seen someone go into the Turmoil that many times in a row. And I was That's like, funny. Great, fantastic. I really like this game. In any case, I just have to say, again, Root, I think for this year, hit it big at Gen Con. The more I play it, the more I demo it, I just think that this is just a game that hits it on so many different levels for me. I think the design is great. I think the aesthetic is great. There's a lot of things I really like about it, and I can't think of a game that I enjoyed more that was released in this time more than Root. But again, too, I'm good friends with those guys. I know a lot about what went into it and the changes and things, so I can definitely appreciate it all. But if I wanted to still take that out of the equation, I think it's still a game that I would have sought after. I did originally back it and canceled it because, again, there was just like multiple people that were getting into the game, and I'm just like, I can't continuously back games that other people are backing that I would most likely always play with. So that's why I never initially had I now own a copy, of course, but I didn't initially go through with the funding because of that. But still, there isn't really too much to be said beyond that. I'm just a fan of what this game does, how it's brought in people. I understand that I think learning this game, especially if you're kind of newish to it, can be a little bit off-putting and hard, but now having played it so many times, it's like it's on the back of my hand in terms of everything. So as you said, it's a game that if you invest into it, it's just going to, it becomes second nature. It becomes second nature very quickly. And that, I think, is what makes it so great. And then it then leads to being able to now quickly decide, how can I strategize? How can I improve upon each game? After you kind of get past that initial, I think, game where it's a little bit like putting on a new pair of underwear. At first, it's kind of restrictive, and then after a while, it becomes a part of you.
Is that a Wayne's World reference?
That's a Wayne's World reference.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Okay, this is a game we should play on. Is it on Tabletop
It
Simulator?
is on Tabletop Simulator.
Okay, we got to do it because I think that would keep it going for me because the group I'm playing with is done with it.
Yep.
But I would love to keep playing with it, and so we should do that.
Let's do it.
Okay, that's like. Oh, by the way, be thinking about this because I want to ask you what a couple games that you're excited for in the this next year. By the way, which is on the spot, but just be thinking about that.
All right,
as I
sounds
talk
good.
about my number one.
Yep.
So, number one for me. Okay,
Container
ready for
Jumbo
this?
Edition.
it's my number 5 and my number 1.
Risk Star Wars.
No, but that's a great. Are you just looking behind me to see what games are in my closet?
No, I just was.
Oh, okay.
I was just being
So-
stupid.
This game plays a big number of players. Has a lot of cubes in it.
Oh, it's Sidereal Confluence.
It is Sidereal Confluence. Trading and
Sidereal
negotiation.
Confluence.
Okay, this game blew me away. This is what I was talking about, where I want something new, and I want something fun, and I want to have that new experience. This game is fantastic, and it is creeping up to be like my favorite game of all time. Every experience I have had of this has been positive with a big group of people. First time I played it was, I think, in the summer because I forced my friends to play it for my birthday, and everyone loved it. And we played it again like the next week with the same number of people or around the same. And this game is just amazing. It is just open trading and negotiation for 2 straight hours, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. People can really get into it. It's actually easy to get into. There's so much stuff on the table, but after an explanation, everything makes sense. After playing like one round, everything just clicks. Once again, a butt ugly game, but another one that where the gameplay supersedes that, and I would love to play this game any moment with anyone. My number 1 game of 2018 is Sidereal Confluence. Now, you have not played this game, right?
No, I haven't. I've seen it. Again, I think this is just a game that I think I would appreciate if I played it with you. I need your hype levels in order to get me excited for it.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's awesome. That's really cool that it's interesting just because a lot of it has come from what we've discussed every 2 weeks. So wasn't as the order in which, if we were to go in order in terms of 3, 2, 1, the order I think surprised me if we were to do it on that level. But beyond that, in terms of the games that we've played, I think we're pretty much, our top games of the year have been kind of what we've played and really enjoyed a lot. So that's really cool. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think we had great lists. Those are all fantastic games. And it's just going to get better. Like every year, it just gets better and better. What are you looking forward to next year? Do you have any? I have some games. If you don't have games yet, I have games.
No, I have games. So I can
what's
definitely
yours?
talk to you about Escape Plan.
That's what I was going to say.
Escape
yeah,
Plan.
Escape Plan's going to be
We're still
sweet.
on the same level.
I know. Okay, and his other game, his Mars game.
Yep, his Mars game I think is going to be pretty fun too. That's a game though I just have to decide whether that's going to be a game that, again, all my friends are going to end up backing, and so it's just like, do I want to back
what's
it?
the point?
Right. Like, just because I know. We'll see what that's for future me to figure out later, right? For now, I'll just dream that I will back it. Very quickly, that game, Pipeline.
Oh yeah, that game looks great.
Pipeline looks like if Power Grid was modernized and called Pipeline.
Are married to Dream, a Pipe Dream.
Sure.
From the 90s. Yeah.
Right. Again, there's no relation. It's just aesthetically what it kind of looks like to me. It's just that.
Oh, got it.
I'm looking forward to Tidal Blades. I didn't end up actually pledging to it fully, but I think that game has a lot of interesting things going for it, and the artwork looks fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I am looking forward to Nanty Narking.
Oh yeah, that looks great.
Nanty Narking looks really good. And then I'm going to end on one game that I don't think you've heard of that looks really interesting, and it's called The Perfect Moment: Manipulate the Past to Change the Future.
What?
Exactly. So this is a game by Jason Tagmeyer. I think the Button Shy.
The small games that.
Yep. Yeah, they're kind of little small little micro games. this game has this really nice aesthetic to it where you play in 3 timelines, one in 1981, one in 1994, and one in 2005. And there are different items that exist in each different timeline that you end up having to play to match on this grid. And it just looks insane. It looks awesome.
That's
I
cool.
backed the print and play for it, and so when it officially gets released next year, I am going to print it out and play it right away because I don't think I can wait to play it. I'm gonna print it myself. So
That sounds cool.
yeah.
Okay, for me, Street Fighter the board game. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
That's still one that I keep getting updates for because I backed it at like $140 or something like that, and just questioning myself. I was like, why? What was I thinking?
I remember also like bagging you on that too. I was like, why did you do that? And he's like, you know what? I don't care. I just liked it. I did it. I'm like, oh, whatever,
I'm just gonna do it. Well, I'm excited for that just because I invested money in it like a moron.
Yeah. I'm
but
excited
the
because I
game-
want to see whatever I gave to it money wise actually formulates into something with cool
Right,
plastic.
right.
I will have no doubt that game is going to look super baller.
Oh, it's gonna look great. I just hope it plays sort of fun. Maybe I can play with my 6-year-old. Nah, probably not. Maybe anyway.
Those things are going to be literally thrown across your living room with your kids. That's what you did. They're just $140 shot puts for your kids. Yep. And it's going to hit someone in the eye. It's going to put a dent in the wall. Your wife's just going to start yelling, and you're like, why did this $140 become the bane of my existence?
Why Jasco Games? I'm sure it'll be lovely.
Continue, please.
Okay. The game I'm excited for, I was going to say Escape Plan. I'm very excited for that.
Right.
But the one I'm very excited for is the new version of Eclipse.
Oh, sure.
I am stoked for that. That was a big game for me when I was into board games. We played that game a ton. Everyone loved it. It had its flaws that made me stop playing it, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just having a poor exploration draws can just kill your game, and I never was good enough to kind of overcome that. Have you played Eclipse before?
Nope, never.
Okay, anyway, it's a fantastic game. I'm just excited for this new version. When they announced it, I immediately sold my copy because it wasn't getting played and I wasn't going to play it again. And I had like the ships expansion. But this, man, I'm very excited for this version of it. Hopefully they fix that problem or just kind of helped find a way to mitigate it. But I don't know if they don't even, I'm still just excited to bring that back to the table because it was such a big game for me. Now, it was also a pretty penny, but I think it'll be worth it just for the production value alone. But I'm very excited for that.
I think
Eclipse.
I think the second edition is what's going to get me started to play it because my friend Nick loved it. It never came to the table for us. I didn't really have too much interest in it, but I definitely know the hype behind it. I know the acclaim. So the second edition, I think, is going to be the version that I end up diving into and playing and seeing how I like it. Especially because Eclipse was brought up to me very early into my career in terms of really getting into the hobby, and I felt a little bit intimidated to get started with it, much like Twilight Imperium. And now that I have those types of games underneath my belt, I think being able to get into Eclipse is going to be a good experience, I think, with the second edition. So
yeah. Oh, dude, TI4. I totally forgot about that game, too.
Oh, you're terrible.
I've probably played that game like 4 or 5 times this year. Oh, that's such a good game.
That's your 4.5.
That's my 4.5. Well, these were great lists. Man, okay, this has been a huge year for us, kind of kickstarting this. Not kickstarting. That's not a good word I can use anymore for that. But kicking this off the ground, start kicking this anyway. It's been fun. I'm excited to see what's ahead of us this next year.
Yep.
We have some exciting things planned.
Yep.
We have some guests that are very exciting guests that your sweet connections are going to bring to us, which I'm very excited for. It'll be big.
Yeah.
It'll be way big.
I think this has been a good year in terms of us keeping on schedule and always enjoying it every step of the way.
It's been so good. I just love talking about board games with you. It's just been great.
It has been great. It has also been a joy for me to be able to talk about board games with you. Just because, again, it's just like every 2 weeks we always get together, and I think we could probably chat on for another hour and a half if our wives would allow us.
I mean, we talked about board games for like 20 minutes before we even started recording.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we should have just put that in the podcast.
I know, absolutely.
Anyway.
So, yeah. I think one of the things that we're going to do in terms of growing the podcast is lining up different interviews, which I think we can. I can officially confirm one, which I will announce.
Who that is?
You know who it is? Didn't I tell you?
I know. I just wanted you to say it out loud.
Sure. I was like, at a point, your face looked like it had utter confusion on it, and I just wanted to make
No,
sure.
I'm still riding high on 300 milligrams of caffeine that I
Nice.
took 10 minutes before we started.
So we are not going to be doing a podcast for the remainder of the year, as we have said, because our next technically recording date would be on Christmas Day. And while I love you, I think I love Christmas a tad bit more.
I understand.
And with our families and stuff, so whatever.
Right.
But on our next official recording date, which is going to be January 8th, we are going to be interviewing Brad Anders, who is one of the developers for Keyforge.
That's going to be sweet.
That's
and
going to
you
be
may have
awesome.
to do that by yourself.
Yes.
Because I think that's my first teaching day.
Yeah. Well, you can just skip it. I mean,
Yeah, I probably will.
right? I mean, everyone does. And anyways, yeah. So for those that don't know, you are going to be starting a professor or teaching job on the side.
Yeah. Just an adjunct for what I do for work.
Yeah. That's awesome.
fun.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Officially on the
But-
podcast.
But I'm excited to hear that episode because I think that's going to... I mean, I love what Keyforge does. I haven't tried it yet. I just need to go buy a couple decks and just play it because every time I hear about it, I want to get my hands on it.
It's hard
I just need to do it.
It's hard to get a hold of. It's sold out at PAX U. It's sold out in a lot of stores. Sold out at Fantasy Flight. So a reprint is a coming.
The starter decks, right? It's easy to find actual Archon decks.
No, I think
Whoa,
Archons
my store has
were
like 2 boxes full right now.
Well,
I got to go hop on that.
Yeah, honestly, then just unpack them and sell them for $2 higher so everyone can see, and hopefully get one of those Horseman decks because that's what has been the latest trend.
Yeah.
So Brad Anders, I met him at PAX U, and we played a game, and it was a lot of fun. And I asked him if he wanted to talk about Keyforge, and he said yes. So he's our first official guest. We will be then doing an interview once per month, so it'll be us and then an interview, us and an interview. There are even guests lined up after that. I could probably fill the entire year with guests, but let's just do 3 months at a time, and let's just take it as we go, because I think I could always fill up people, and then I just end up having to confirm with them, and things can fall through. But I can officially confirm that one for January 8th, which we'll be recording, and it'll see the release the next week, which will be the 13th, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. In any case,
I don't know.
So
I
that's
just said I think so, but I have no idea.
yeah. So that's going to be exciting. You will also be, I think, seeing a lot of us more at conventions, because I know that you have applied to go to SaltCon out in Utah.
I'm going to try and go to SaltCon this next year, which is our local gaming convention here in Utah.
Yep.
With, I think there's about between 1,500 to 2,000 people at that one. I don't know what that is relative to other cons, like small local ones. But I went once a few years ago and had a good time. So I'm going to go again. Dang it! I have a good friend of mine who's trying to convince me to go. That he goes every year, and I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I'm not.
Yeah. So we'll have a full report from you on SaltCon. I know that the probability is high that I will be at all the major conventions next year. We're talking Origins, we're talking Gen Con, probably PAX U, depends on whether or not what ends up happening, but that's the current plan, is that I will most likely be going either as Rolling Doubles podcast or with Leader Games and just doing Rolling Doubles on the side when I have a free day. But that's the current plan for us. So you'll be seeing a lot more of us in conventions. There will be t-shirts floating around because we have t-shirts out in the wild now. So if you see a t-shirt, snap a picture, send it to us, tag us, because that'll be great. Three of us
exist.
exist.
For SaltCon.
Yeah. Wait, did we send? I sent you one, right?
I don't think so.
You'll
I don't
get
know,
one.
Did you?
Yeah, you should have gotten one. Did you get our Christmas card?
No.
What? Oh, sorry, that was a little bit loud.
Did you send them to the same address? Because hopefully they.
No, I think so. Oh, there was a pile of Christmas cards that are now officially lost. They're somewhere. So,
They're somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sure it'll come up at some point.
Yep. So, anyways, if you
Cool.
you might
Anyway.
receive something in January of next year, but anyways, you'll receive something. So,
Cool. Okay, social media. Find us on Instagram, and I don't know, man, we need to do better. It's just so hard to do social media. Just if you're interested, find us. Maybe that's
rolling
how
doubles, roll doubles, roll doubles on Twitter. Facebook is rolling doubles. Instagram is Rolling Doubles. Don't do Rolling Doubles PC.
Yeah, I found
Houses
apparently I
are
was
bad
posting
too.
on that, which is the wrong one. So you'll find 2 random new posts on there.
Yep.
That for the 4 followers. I was like, hold up, what happened to all our followers?
Yep.
All 20 of them.
We
Just
are,
kidding.
We are on Board Game Geek, by the way, as well too. We are on podcast for Board Game Geek, so you can listen to all of our episodes on there. And you
Sweet.
can also, I think in 2019, I want to create a guild. I want to get a little badgy
Ooh.
thing. So let's do that.
Let's do it. I'll
Yeah.
make a badge. We're on Spotify.
Yep,
So
we're on
that's real-
Spotify, and big
that's
thing is
cool.
big thing is on YouTube. So what ends up happening is we upload each segment, we cut them apart, we put them on YouTube, so you can get to each segment that you have interest in, and then we post those on Board Game Geek, so that if you're interested in a certain game, you can find our video sessions on there. And again, if you like us on YouTube, like what you do, give us a subscribe, like retweetings, social shares, all that fun stuff. All that really helps and is awesome. And we're gonna just try to hit it harder next year. It's the best we
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
And we'll just do that. So
I've been fiddling with game pieces as we've been recording, and I realized that there's probably some background sound. Like I dropped a dish I used to hold tokens. I've been fiddling with an extra container piece that I have that they sent me, and a coconuts coconut. If you've ever played coconuts, they're like rubber bouncy balls in the shapes of coconuts, and I've been playing with that as well. So I realized I'm a little obsessed with board games, and I just wanted to tell you what I've been playing with over here.
well, now we just have to delete this entire episode now and just re-record it because we now have sullied this episode with your coconutting.
There's so many random noises in the background. Like I said, I should not have had caffeine right before. I don't know when I'm going to go to bed now. Anyway, we're dragging this on. It's been real. Anything you want to say before we go?
2019,
It's going to be the year of board game. No. All right. Well,
the
have
year
fun.
of rolling dice and taking names, but that's also a podcast.
That's also go listen to them.
Yeah, they're fun.
Sure.
2019 is gonna be a good year. It's gonna be.
It'll be a great year.
If you thought we did good, we're gonna do gooder this year. This next year,
We're going to do gooder.
we're gonna do gooder next year.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Music intro is See You Play by Fantastic Plastic Machine, and music bumpers were created by myself using Apple Loops and GarageBand for iOS. Join us next time as we kick off an exciting year here on Rolling Doubles Podcast. See you next year.